welcome to the channel. Today we are going to talk about your experience of moving to Ireland, and can you give us like your impression of moving, how easy or difficult it was, and what has been the the challenges you faced when you first arrived to the country?
Sure. So I've been in Ireland for about 11 years. I moved here just after graduating in Italy. And well, the challenges I faced, well, the first one is the linguistic barrier. So having to learn a new language, even though we study English at school in Italy, it's not the same English people speak here. It's very different. So that was my first problem, my first barrier. And also it was difficult to find a job because even though I had an Italian degree in economics, so on a very like good subject, okay, so that can give you good job opportunities, but I didn't have any experience. And because the Italian university, you do lots of theory, but you don't do any practice. So when you go abroad to find work, it's hard to kind of bridge your education with what the job market is demanding. So that was another barrier. And so those were the two major obstacles: language and experience.
And Dominic, why did you decide to move to Ireland rather than other countries?
So Ireland is because I wanted to improve my English. So I didn't want to go far away, like in Australia or New Zealand or in Canada. I wanted to stay in Europe. But I don't like big cities. So I was between London and Dublin. But since I don't like big cities, in the end I went for Dublin.
So you came here during the recession. Is probably that the reason why you struggled to find a job, which is probably completely different situation now, where maybe you can see a lot of job openings everywhere?
Yeah, that might be why that's true. Like at the moment, the job market is very active. There are loads of jobs available at the moment.
So Dominic, you told us that you struggled a bit to find a job. What about accommodation? Was it as difficult as it is now to find accommodation, a room or an apartment in Dublin?
No. So when I moved here, it was way easier to find an apartment, even a room or an apartment or a house to rent. It was way easier. So it was difficult compared to other European countries like Italy or Spain, when there are so many accommodation rooms and houses available on the market. So it was difficult compared to those countries, but it was way easier than it is now.
Okay, very good. So how long did it take to find the job then, since when you arrived?
So it took me about 2 months. But I didn't. So in those 2 months, I wasn't looking for a job. At first, I joined an English school, and I studied English for 2 months. Then from when I started looking for a job to when I found it, it was about a week. It took me about a week to find it.
Yeah, but that doesn't seem like a bad thing to find a job in a week anyway. And when what about the rest? Like, what about living in Dublin in general? Have you enjoyed living in Dublin? What are the pros and cons? What's your impression of after so many years in Ireland?
So I think Ireland is definitely more hit than miss. So there are more pros than cons of living here. I think the major pro is the job opportunities, because there are so many opportunities on the market, especially if you are skilled, if you're a skilled worker. For example, if you work in IT or finance, or if you are a doctor, you can find a job easily and you can get paid loads of money for that job, which is really, really good. And also, I think Ireland is a very nice place to live because the culture of the people. Irish people are kind of very relaxed. They are welcoming. They're nice people, so that helps. And also, they don't like. I also like the work culture. So in Ireland, it is not normal to do like lots of overtime, to work so much, to work many extra hours. Normally, people don't do that. They work 9 to 5. Whereas like in other European countries, like in Italy, for example, where I'm from, it is common to work extra hours every single day. And that's and that's not good in the long run. And cons, well, I'd say the lack of accommodation. So at the moment, it's really hard to find a room or even a room to rent, even a room to share. Like it's hard to find it, which is a bit worrying, to be honest. And also another con is the weather, of course, because here, let's say 7 to 8 months a year, it's quite dark and it's quite cold and it rains a lot, even in the summer. So that's a bit of a bummer because say you work the whole week, Monday to Friday, and then the weekend you could go out to something, go for a picnic, go to the beach, but it's raining or it's cold. And yeah, that in the long run, that gets actually.
Yeah, you can't really plan ahead. Yeah, I agree. What about public transport in Dublin?
The public transportation, I think it's okay. It could be better. It is not as good as one would expect, because like Ireland is a Northern European country. So Northern European countries, they are famous for being very efficient, for their efficient transport. For example, say Norway, Sweden, Germany, Switzerland. I imagine their transport is very efficient. That's the idea we have in mind. Instead, in Ireland, let's say it is better than where I'm from in Italy. It is much better, but it is not as good as other European countries. For example, sometimes the buses are late. Sometimes the buses just disappear, so they just don't come to pick you up. And also, let's say there is no underground in Dublin. Still, they are planning to build it, but it is still a project that they haven't started. Which makes it difficult, for example, to go from the airport to the city center because there is just one major road going back and forth, and there are traffic jams all the time. Okay, so
you've been talking about the job situation, the housing, and the transport. Would you still recommend, let's say, anyone who is interested to move to Dublin or Ireland in general? Would you still recommend it now, or do you think is not a good idea and they should maybe go somewhere else?
I would recommend it, yes, but on one condition: to come here prepared. So what they do very often, at least Italian people I know, they go abroad but they are not prepared. They just go there like here I am, I came here, now I want a job. It is not how it works. So you should plan in advance. You should make sure that, so in Ireland, they're looking for workers, for a lot of workers. But if you don't work in a specific area, if you don't have specific skills, you still get paid a lot compared to other European countries. However, the cost of living is higher here, especially if you're renting. So if you don't have a specific skill, you get it before moving, or you have to have a plan to get it in the future. So you get a job here and then you work and get skilled.
Right, thanks. A question has been asked a lot. So given the high cost of living, how much do you think a person should earn nowadays in Dublin to live comfortably? I'm talking about a single person, no family, no children.
Well, for a single person, I think that if they earn less than 40K, then they're making huge compromises to get by. So I would say to be able to at least rent, let's say if you're okay with renting a room in a shared flat, in a nice area, like a nice flat, then 40K is okay. But if you want a flat for yourself, then you should earn way more than that. Okay. Then I would say at least 60 to 80K, I would say, a year.
And what about if someone is thinking of buying a house? I know you're in the process of buying yourself, looking for a house. What's that? A lot of maybe people on this channel might want to know, what's the process, how easy to find a house for sale, and you probably know a lot because you're in the middle of it now.
Yes, I'm in the middle of it. So we are mortgage approved. So we are at the final stage now. We just have to, win a bidding and then just buy it. So we are. I would say the process is it's quite long, but it is worth it in the end, because like mortgages are cheaper than rents, way cheaper. So it is much better to buy than to rent. What you should have is something important to know is that if you're a single person, it's not easy to buy, because you can only get from the bank, you can only get 4 times your annual salary. Okay, and that would be before tax. Yeah, it's only 4 times. So if you earn 40K, you can only get 160,000, which is not enough to buy, of course. But if you are a couple, then it's easier. So I would say it's definitely worth it. Even if you're not planning to stay in Ireland for a very long time, but it is still a good investment, because the property here, they kind of follow inflation in a way. So it is better I think it's better to invest.
Okay. So I know you have a YouTube channel. Do you want to talk about your YouTube channel briefly? And what are you talking about in the channel, your target audience, and, whatever you want to talk about?
Sure. So my channel is called Mr. Italiota in Dublin. So it's a channel in Italian, so I speak Italian on the channel. And I give advice to expats and to newbies to Ireland, and also to people who want to move here, Italians who want to move to Ireland. And I also try to make people aware of the problems that there are in Italy, because many people, they live in Italy, but they don't see the problems because they've never been abroad. So I try to give my own perspective on the problems people face in Italy, and how living in another country like Ireland is very different. It is much better.
Okay, so I will add the link of your channel into the description of this video at the end. Okay, so Dominic, thank you very much for joining us. Do you want to say some final words before we close off?
What I want to say is to people who are trying to move here, do not trust Facebook groups, for example. Do not trust what you hear from people, but do your own research as well. So learn English and go on official websites to see what, for example, the government says about a specific problem, and to go to official websites and see what, the source of information. Be very critical about the source of information as well, because sometimes people can get really misled by other people. So
yeah, and I heard a lot of scams as well happening, especially on Facebook. So yeah, definitely be careful with that. Okay, thanks again, Dominic, and have a good day.
You too. Thank you, Frank. Bye-bye.